Hello, everyone, and I would like to welcome you to our Family Matters podcast. And we are featuring grandparents this episode. So I want to welcome all of you to our Family Matters podcast, grandparents. Glad to see you here. We're going to start first with each of you introducing yourselves. Tell us how many grandchildren you have. And so let's start with Deacon Hester and Sister Hester here.
Okay.
I'm Beth Hester, and we have 4 grandchildren.
And we've been married for 47 years, and we have 2 children. The son has 2 boys,
No,
2 girls.
The son has a boy and a girl.
I'm really close to him.
And the daughter has 2 daughters.
Okay. Wow. 47 years, 4 grandchildren. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. So, and Sister Torres, talk to us a little bit.
Yes. I have I have 2 children of my own, and then I have 3 grandchildren. Yes.
Awesome. And Pastor and Sister Hope?
I'll let Sister Hope explain the families so I won't mess it up.
Okay. Well, we are the Moores, and we have, let's see, 4. No, we have 5 grandbabies. We have 5 grandbabies ranging from ages 16 down to 3.
15.
Okay, I'm sorry, 15, almost 15 down to almost 3. So we will be, 16 in January and 3 in December.
Oh,
That's right. That's right. Awesome. Okay. So, on our podcast today, I really am excited to get into some conversation. Normally, we just talk about parents, and we talk about how, as parents, we can be intentional in our parenting, helping other parents grow in their spiritual faith with their children. And so today, I'm excited because you all get to kind of share your journey as grandparents. And so we all know, I know my grandparents played a really special role in my life. And so I'm excited to hear your journey and what it's like from 3 different perspectives with your grandchildren. And so for those of you who don't know, actually, I'm going to let you all tell your own story. So we're just going to jump in there. And I would like to see how has it been with your grandchildren? How has that changed your life? With your grandchildren? How has that impacted you personally? Anybody just jump in there?
I think for us, we enjoyed children. We wanted to have children. I mean, we waited 5 years while we were married before we even had kids. So when our children came along, we were ready. And I kind of believe that if you like children, you're gonna love grandchildren. It's different, that's for sure. But we were anticipating grandbabies the whole time. I'll let Beth talk about when Rylan was born.
Oh, yeah. When Rylan was born, our first grandchild, he's 16 years old. And when he was first born, when Laura, she gave me a Christmas card. Well, it was a calendar. And on the calendar, she had that she was expecting. And I'm looking at the calendar, looking at the pictures, and I'm thinking, oh, this is so beautiful. And she kept saying, Mom, look at the calendar really good. And I kept looking at it, and it still didn't rain. I was still lost. And finally, she had to point out the date of her due date. And when I looked at it, I just absolutely went crazy. And you know, we've just been crazy grandparents ever since, because at that time, Jimmy was going through his illness, and every Friday after his dialysis, we're on the road going to Fort Wayne to go see the babies, to go see Rylan. So we spent almost every weekend his baby life in Fort Wayne, even though my husband wasn't feeling good. It's like, you better get some strength somewhere, because we got to go to Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
So it was a joy when we first got him. And I call him my favorite grandson, because he's the only one we got.
Awesome.
Great.
Anybody else want to chime in?
Well, for me, I feel like before I became a grandma, I became a grandma at a very young age too, by the way. I was at 35 years old, I was a grandma. That's when I became a grandma for the first time. But I before then, I used to remember hearing grandparents say, "You don't know what love is until you become a grandma or a grandpa." And I used to just be like, how can that possibly be? Because my love for my children is just so unconditional. I couldn't even imagine it getting any deeper than that. And then when I became a grandma, then for me, I don't know other people, but for me, it is a greater love. It has been for me, even greater than the love I have for my kids. It's just so I couldn't even imagine, loving something so much like I do my grandkids. So my grandkids have been, my life, and I just love them so much. So, and that's part of the reason why I ended up raising, two of them. But yes, I now can relate when grandparents say, no, you just can't imagine the love that you have for your grandkids until you become a grandparent.
That's awesome. Well,
Okay.
our experience, we were able to be in the delivery room for our first grandchild, which was so exciting when CJ was born. And so then we had four straight boys. And we were hoping at some point to get a granddaughter. And finally, 3 years ago, we got our first granddaughter. And so I named her, instead of granddaughter, I call her the Grand Princess.
Mhm.
And so she enjoys that title. And every chance hoping I can get, all five of them are out there in Texas. We are on a plane going out to try to spend some time with our five grandkids. And it's an amazing blessing after having three incredible children and now five beautiful grandchildren. Um, but one thing it's got me now is my oldest is getting ready to start driving, and so now my parenting sensibilities is kicking in. Like, oh man, is he gonna be okay? And so that's the only concern I have. Is I thought I would be done with that with my three children. Now I got five grandkids to worry about. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
me.
Yes. So I am, as we're talking, and everyone has multiple grandchildren, and I'm just wondering. I know from my own family, the grandkids are very competitive. Who gets to spend time with granddad or grandma? Who gets what? It's someone's birthday. How do you grandparent each of them equally, but they're different grandchildren, right? Because we know as children, all children, none of us get the same parent. I was listening to this article about the other day about how every child gets a different parent. They have
Mhm.
the same parents, but they get different parents because the parents are in different seasons. Each child needs something different, and so they experience a different parent. So how do you, as grandparents, how are you able to navigate those relationships when you have multiple grandchildren that need multiple different things and not show favoritism?
How about the
Well, I know for us, what we do is our grandchildren, we used to all go out to dinner on the grandchildren's birthday as a family, the nine of us. But lately, the grandkids have discussed that they want to just have their birthday luncheon with Mimi and Pop Pop. So we allow them to pick out where they want to go for lunch. And just the three of us, me, Jimmy, and that child, we go out to their favorite place and we spend the day with them. We have birthday, we laugh, we talk, and we have their dinner. And that's how we do with them. And then with the girls, with us having one boy and one girl and three girls, I like to spend girls' day. So once every other month, me and the three girls go out shopping and we have lunch or we go to the movie because I spend a lot of time with Rylan picking him up after school a lot of times. So he gets his Mimi and Pop Pop time alone. So none of them feel like, I'd like to think that none of them feel like they're not getting enough time alone with Mimi and Pop Pop, or one child's getting more than the other. And that's how we do it.
Okay.
I think we really work hard on trying to one-on-one time. It's like, when you go to the store, there's no way you can take all your kids to the store. So you just pick one. Today's your day, and we're walking the aisles together. I'm thankful that they haven't shown that jealousy thing much. The girls are beginning to do that now. They're all three are preteens, and that's beginning to creep in a little bit. Rylan, like Pastor, TJ, Rylan too is
Driving.
on the verge of driving. We've had driver's ed, and he's got the little big driver's license and all that stuff. But it just scares me to death. I mean, it's responsibility and role, but as a pop, I can't help but do you think about this? And I think okay on the mechanics of driving, but we're talking about decisions, when to pull out, when not to pull out.
That's right.
I don't want to walk up and he goes, "Oh my God, here comes Pop Pop," But I tell him anyway. I got to tell him.
I think for us it's a little bit more difficult because
Yeah.
of long distance.
Yeah.
And I would say I feel like just like a child gets a different parent, I feel like the children get different grandparents as well. I think depending upon, for me,
Mhm.
I try to, especially since I have limited time sometimes with them in person, I really try to zero in on that child and what it is that they need and try to remember what is special to them. What can I talk about with them that will make us have a closer bond? But I think for me, I just try to zero in and make sure that they know every opportunity I get that I'm hugging them, I'm telling them that grandma loves them, that I am being interested in what it is that they're interested in and trying to have some conversation with them on around what they're interested in because it's important to me that even though we're long distance, but love can reach through the miles. So I try to make sure that I zero in when I am with them. And just being reading some articles and things, trying to figure out other ways that we can also connect over the distance. And that's why I do love that it's some type of app. Cam is playing football. Cam is almost 13. CJ is playing football. He's almost 16, but it's so wonderful for their parents to send us that app. And on Thursday and Fridays, we actually get to watch them play football in Texas.
Oh, it's
We're in Indiana, and that is the neatest thing ever. Just watching them and being able to share in that time with them and talk about, oh, that was a great tackle, and oh, I saw you run that touchdown in. And that's just a great app. Technology has helped tremendously.
Absolutely.
For me, I'm gonna be honest. I have 3 grandkids. One of them lives in Dallas. She's 10. And then one of them lives in California, San Francisco. She's 18. Now, I always keep in mind that I'm raising one of them and that he gets a lot out of me. So when it comes to my grandbabies for their birthdays, I send them money. But not only that, I don't only send money for birthdays. I send money usually every 3 months. I send money to them. And that's just because I guess part of me has a little guilty conscience that the one I have here gets 100% of everything that he wants out of me. And the other two, all I can do is really send money. But it was funny because my granddaughter, the 10-year-old, it was her birthday recently, and I had sent her some money, and my daughter told me that she had told her, "Mama send you some money for your birthday." And she said, "Oh, I'm so excited. I'm thankful." She said, "Mama," she said, "Mommy, I am so special to my mama, you know." And it just, in my heart, I'm like, that's all I ever want her to know. Even though
Okay.
she's in Dallas, Texas, and I only get to see her twice a year, I want her to know that she is very special to me.
Yeah.
And because there is that distance, and I do have a little guilty conscience behind that. um I wish I could see her more often, but I can't, unfortunately. But I do send money. We If for any reason, like, her tablet breaks, because she has a tablet that she stays in touch with, I send money to get a new tablet. I'm always hands on financially, and I don't know, maybe that's my way of feeling better of why I'm not, of making up for what that I'm not there for the other two, and I'm here for this one that I have in my life. But for
Right.
me, it's more financial support that, in a way helps and makes me feel good too, in a way. Yeah.
And you touched on a few things that I'd like to kind of just take a moment and discuss. You mentioned that you are raising one of your grandchildren, and I know that everyone on the call has children, and so not all of your children are in the same space, right?
No.
Whether it's as far as location, but more so in life, right? Every child is doing something, or others may be in a different space, and so sometimes when you have a grandchild that you feel you have to kind of step in and be more of a parent role, that child may have an absence. So, transparently, I'm a single mom. And so my son looks at his grandfather as his dad,
Yeah.
right? Because that is the one person, um, father figure that's been consistent and constant in his life in that role. How do you, and I guess I'm asking as a group, if it's applicable, but how do you um, toe the line between parent and grandparent when you have to, you're the grandparent, but you're also playing a role as a parent? How do you give that child, do you give them that grandparent experience? Are you more of a authoritative figure? How do you balance that as a grandparent? Because I know some grandparents don't get to enjoy being grandparents. They have to be parents.
It used to be, for me, being a grandparent used to be enjoyable before. It's not that enjoyable now, because now I've went into the role of a mother and a father. I'm
Mhm.
having to play both roles. I'm not no longer playing the grandparent role, because grandparents, usually you keep your kids temporarily and then you send them back. I don't get to send mine back. I'm having to do the discipline. I'm having to talk about the everything, conversations that he should be having with his dad, trying to teach this young boy how to be a man, a little man. uh, so no, I'm no longer in the role of a grandma. I'm now in the role of a mother when it comes to raising him. uh, Makes it a little harder, because what happens when you have two parents in the household, there's always one that has more authority than the other one. uh, and there's always more respect with the one that has the authority, because there is a balance. But in this case, I'm doing all the discipline, so I'm kind of viewed a little bit more as the bad guy as well. And but it's okay. It's okay. I don't mind it, as long as I know that I'm doing right by him. And we have our days, our moments, and then we have our conversations. But again, that grandparent is out the window when you have guardianship over your grandkids. You're no longer a grandma. You're now a parent.
Absolutely. And I know that he doesn't appreciate it now, but he will, and it's a tough space to be when you feel that everything is sitting on your shoulders, right? And you don't have another person to discuss things with or to kind of, hey, you take this round, I'll take this round, or you discipline this time. And so it's tough. And kids, especially in today's world, they're different than when I was growing up. You just kind of got popped in your mouth and you went on your way. They just
Right.
keep talking now.
Yeah.
They just keep going. So I commend you for, taking that role. And
Thank you.
it's something that is, it's a thankless job. Motherhood's a thankless job, but I know that this is also a thankless job, being a
I
grandparent
want
of a child. So I wanted to
to
acknowledge
I'm sorry,
that.
Courtney. I just want to say that I really respect Miss Torres for speaking up, saying that sometimes she has to be the bad guy. I love that because I think sometimes people get a little confused with grandparents not necessarily, stepping into that role. I mean, it's nice to be the fun person to come by and eat the dinners and all that kind of stuff. But every now and then, with the discipline, when you see them disrespect whoever, whether it be their parents or whatever, yes, we do have, the lines are blurred sometimes. Our situation with the daughter, um, her her
She too is a single parent.
she too is a, thank you, her she too is a single parent, and they lived with us for seven
7 years.
for 7 years. So yeah, I'm pop, but I'm also daddy too. I mean, that's, and now that they live on their own, they still I still assume that role with them, and I have to, put that hat on and deal with it, and that's okay. That's okay because I love them both, and I want them to be exposed to some things that some positive role models. Um, One thing I have learned though is not to bash the father. We're kind of drifting off into a different subject, uh, Sister Moore, Courtney. But I try not to do that. And what has happened, what we have found, that his behavior shows them, what a father shouldn't be. So we really never have to go into that realm very often. He'll make promises and he won't show up, or he won't do something that he probably automatically ought to do. So as a father, as the
Right.
pop or whatever, I don't really have to bash him. I
Right.
keep the focus. I keep the focus on the child. This is what we're dealing with. Going to school, going to church, whether they're involved with, I'm there with them and for them. And the money was mentioned a couple of times. The money is really helping out our child, or not so much that it helps the grandkid, but it's really helping the child, because that's something that they don't, it'll help with a half a tank of gas or whatever, whether it be a small thing or a big thing.
Right.
So the monetary kind of really helps our kids. And of course, we're responsible and love them and going to take care of them too.
Great.
My just really quick, I come from being in foster homes. I came from being in foster home after foster home, and I saw my grandkids gearing that way. So right away, I hired a lawyer, and at one point I had both of them, but one of them chose to move to San Francisco, California, which I don't blame her. But I just could not have lived with myself if my kids would have ended up in a, especially knowing what I went through in a foster home. So I do not regret raising my grandson. I mean, I tell him all the time, I fought for you. I hired a lawyer for it so I can get you. So, don't ever think that, you weren't meant to be here. No, you were meant to be in my life. And I'm very happy to have you in my life. So, and he had a purpose. And I thank God for that.
Love that. Any other comments?
all I gotta say is that is just that warms my heart because whenever we all know that families run into headwinds, they have issues, they have concerns, but for to me, it always feels like who could have sacrificed to take that child or who should have sacrificed to take that child as opposed to that child having to go into the foster care system. So I just kudos to you, Miss Torres. Just kudos to you. That really and to be honest, that is something in our community that happens a lot all the time. Grandparents do step up and take kids, and it's nothing to hear about a grandmother raising a kid or a grandfather raising a kid. So I just think that that is wonderful. It's awesome.
Thank you.
I'd like to share another angle. Um, because our oldest child spent some time with us, and when my son and his wife started having children, I think my daughter-in-law felt like we would be partial to our first grandchild. And but over time, she realized that Hope and I would not make a difference in our grandkids. Now, all just like children, all kids need different things and different support. But it was good to hear her say the other day that she she came to the realization that we would do just as much for her four children uh, as we will for our oldest grandson. And the other thing that happened was that last year they, for the first time, I think in like 8 or 9 years, they came to our home, and those kids had a ball at grandmama's house.
Mhm.
And so, but they, because they're so far away, they've never really experienced being in grandpa and grandmama's house. And so last time we talked to one of the kids, they said, when are we going to come back to your house? So it's nothing like going to grandmama and granddaddy's house. And
Mhm.
so, but those are all special things that I cherish and hope to do more of with our grandchildren.
And I just want to say this. One thing that because sometimes with the kids being the grandbabies being so far away, you can get a little down and oh, I wasn't there to see the school play. I wasn't there to go to
Right.
grandparents' day or blah blah blah. But what I realized was, and I happened to be reading some articles in preparation for this podcast, and it talked about being thankful just for the fact that you have grandkids. There are so many parents who will never have that joy of being a grandparent. And I thought about that. Some of our closest friends, they have a granddaughter. They don't have a grandchild. And I know that their heart, I kind of feel a little guilty when I show them pictures of our grandbabies and talk about what the grandbabies are doing and oh, we're going to see them. I feel guilty because I know how much they long to have a grandchild, but they don't have one yet. And chances are they may not have a grandchild because they're getting older. Their daughters, their kids are getting older, and so it just kind of put my mind in a different space that, you know what? Yeah, my grandbabies are far away, but I am still so blessed and figure out any kind of way you can to connect with them.
Does that mean we can get rid of the granddogs?
No, absolutely
No,
not. Absolutely not.
Oh man.
You'll get more grand dogs. But we touched on something really quickly, and we don't have to stay on this topic long because I want to make sure that we are moving forward. But you mentioned something about daughter-in-laws or daughter-in-loves, and however you say those things, or maybe it's your son-in-law, or it's a parent that is absent. How do you navigate those relationships as grandparents? How do you make sure that you are not crossing certain boundaries as being grandparents and but still navigating that fine line of, if you need to say something, you say something, or not making them feel as if like you're not being as including of all of the family members. How do you navigate in-laws as grandparents?
Oh, Laura.
Well, for us, our daughter-in-law, Laura, she's wonderful. I couldn't imagine having anybody better than her. With her, we always check with her and Trey before we do anything with regards to the kids, if that means buying them something. Now, granted, me being Mimi, I'm always sneaking money to my grandson. And of course, Laura, she said, Mom, that's fine. She said, but I want Rylan to earn his money. So, she let me know in a nice way, don't just give him money. But, I still kind of backpedal and still slipping some money every month, once in a while. But, other than that, we have a wonderful, wonderful understanding. She tells me if I'm doing something that she doesn't like, and I abide by her rules because she is the mother and Trey is the father, and we're just the grandparents.
Okay. Anyone else?
Well, I will say this. Especially when CJ and Courtney lived with us just for a little while, um, I had to learn how to be a grandmother. I I had to learn that, you know what? This is not your child. You don't get to make the rules. You are grandma. And I really had to really learn how to be grandma and understand that, what their boundaries that you don't cross. And there, even though you might think that, you have the, no, you're not the mom, and you need to abide by mom's rules and check with mom first. And as far as my daughter in love, she's a wonderful mom. She's a beautiful person. But she did have that, like Pastor just talked about. She had a preconceived notion. She thought that we were going to treat the kids differently because we had CJ had lived with us, and she felt we were closer to him. But what I realized was I don't spend a lot of time talking about that. Our actions show that we love the kids, and we're going to treat them all equally and make sure that we care for all of them. Now, there was one situation where I wanted to do something for one child because I felt like one grandchild because I felt like that there was a need there. And so what I did was I went to my son and I talked to him about why I was doing what I was doing so that if it ever came up in the future, he would know that, yes, mom did this, but this is why she did it. And I wanted him to hear from me why I was doing it. I didn't want him to have to think about it or speculate about it. I wanted him to know. And the other thing that I have come to the conclusion is that having a relationship with my grandkids is much more important than me winning any battle with a parent. And so,
Right.
you know what? There are times that, what did mama say? Let it go in one ear and out the other. Or, just, you just act, you don't react to it. You act like you didn't see it, you didn't hear it. Because having that relationship with my grandchildren is much more important than me trying to say, oh, I won that battle and I'm one up on you and that type of thing. It's not worth it to me.
Right.
It for me it's a little different because well, Christopher's father, he comes around, uh and even though that's his father, but he does ask, Mom, is it okay if I take Christopher here? Or is it okay if next week we do this? So he knows, when I took legal guardianship, he knew that I was gonna be I became 100% responsible over Christopher. Um, but I appreciate him having that communication with me, and I love that his father spends time with him. Uh, but his father also, we have really good. He has a good relationship with me as his mother, and he respects how I raised Christopher. And but him and Christopher are more friends than anything. It's not like a father son relationship. They're more like best friends. But I don't have any problem with that. As far as the mom, Christopher's mom, she's not in his life, so I don't really have to deal with that. But I don't have that problem where I have to, you know, go back and forth or negotiate with my son or the mom. No, I make 100% decisions in Christopher's life, and I would be happy if his mom would be in his life. But she has some issues that she has to address with first. Yeah.
And I hope that this podcast encourages any grandparents or parents that are having issues with each other to put the kids first, and like you said, Sister Hope, it's more important to focus on the relationship with the child versus trying to win battles. And so I think that that's really important. As we get ready to like wrap things up, I wanted to ask, how do you help your grandchildren grow spiritually? How do you help them invest in their spiritual walk as you are spending time with them? How would you encourage grandparents to what can they do to help their grandchildren grow spiritually as they grow?
Well, our situation is kind of unique. We all go to different churches, so I hear about opportunities when they have uh, plays or programs or things like that. When they were baptized, we left our churches, went to their church. So that always kind of worked out. But I guess we see our role mainly as just support. That it's in our actions, what we say. I've never been much of a person who did a lot of quoting scriptures and things like that. But I pray that my actions and how I deal with different situations, whether it be good or bad, they watch how I do and what I say, um, which kind of is a good way for us. Um, I share a lot of things with them in my role at my church as a deacon, and I don't give them particularly names and things like that, but we talk about situations and opportunities that I'm dealing with, and just to see where they are on a spiritual level. When Taryn's girls lived with us, of course, they got a overload of nightly prayers and prayers for dinner and the whole bit. But when they got into their mom's house, things were a little different. But I think they're getting what they need. Trey went to I try not to say names, but he went to a church I was really concerned about, and I talked to my pastor about it a little bit. But as long as they preach Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, we're okay. But I wasn't sure there for a minute. But I think they're fine, and they seem to be getting the Christian education that they need to survive.
Anyone else want to chime in?
Um, the question was, how are we helping grandchildren with their spiritual walk?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I mean, for me, I think my first step was in finding a church that that was gonna feed me spiritually and feed him also. And before we came to New Era, we visited about 3 other churches, and he said, "No, mom, no, mama, I don't want to go back." Um, so I knew that when I was looking for a church, I knew it had to be a church that was gonna benefit him also. It wasn't just about me, because he had went through a lot. So when we came to New Era, um, and then we came and we went. I was surprised when we came the first time. I wanted to stay, but I was depend on what he said. And if he would have told me no, ma'am, I would have not came back. But he said, I said, do you want to come back to church, to New Era? He said yes. So that was my first step in helping my grandson and myself with spiritual walk. Uh, I'm like this gentleman. I forgot your name, sir. I'm not one to, you know, to talk to him about the Bible. I need to do better there, considering he really only has me. But we have conversations. Uh, we have to have cool conversations because he's a cool kid. Now, if I come to him and quote scriptures out of the Bible, he's gonna say, "Ma'am, are you for real?" Or he's gonna
Right.
probably laugh or get bored or walk away or something. So I have to find interesting ways that he can understand the message. He couldn't understand for the love of God we had to be at church Sunday 9 o'clock in the morning. When normally service is 10. And I had to tell him in a cool way, First Lady has dedicated 35 years of her life to this church. She's ready to, she's going to be retiring. And this is the one day we're going to make her feel extra special. you know, so we have to give at least 1 hour early. So he's like, okay. I have to talk to him certain ways when it comes to messages of the word or how to be a kind person or how to be respectful. There are certain messages that I have to feed him, teaching him like grocery shopping. Like I go grocery shopping. Okay, your mom, she earns the money. She goes grocery shopping. You're a gentleman, you're gonna bring the groceries in. That's the polite thing to do. But when you get married, you do the same thing with your wife, because your wife is gonna be tired, she's gonna cook you dinner. So there's certain little messages that I have to feed him, but they have to be cool messages so he can understand them.
Well, that's I think that's the beauty of church. I think that's the beauty of Sunday school, young men's meetings, small group meetings, because he'll find a role model. He'll find a young man in New Era that he'll say, "Boy, that guy, he's got it together. He dresses cool, or he likes sports, or what? I'm not sure what it is, but he's a Christian. He's the kind of guy I think I want to grow up to be, and that's the beauty of having young men. New Era's always had a lot of men in the church, but you find a young brother that the kid likes, and then it becomes cool. Then it becomes cool. That's why the kids like Pastor Moore. He's not like the traditional, preacher with the big robe and the suit and the unapproachable. That's the word, unapproachable. He's approachable. You can walk up and talk to him, or Pastor Hart, or any of the other ministers there. Hopefully, some of the deacons too. I'm kind of beat up now, but I think that always works. Though, is that when young men find role models in church, that's always a blessing. It worked for me, and they would say the same message that they got at home. But if you get it from a different voice, sometime it really penetrates their minds and their hearts.
That's
So,
right.
Sister Torres, I step out for you once again for making him go to church, and because it's there. It's whatever he needs is there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm hoping, and me and him talked just briefly, that he gets baptized before he moves. He's moving to Colorado next May. But I'm hoping he gets baptized. But I'm gonna have to find a cool way of sending that message out to him so he can understand it and take it in. But that's what I'm hoping. I need to sit still and be creative on how to pass that baptizing message to him. But yes.
I would like to say I like to I kind of like I love books and gifts. That's kind of like my love language. And so I know for my grandsons, the older ones, the three older ones, I try to get them a Bible that as a gift, but a Bible that they can understand in their language that has all the neat things that they can learn about God's word and all of that. So I do remember doing that for CJ, Kim, and Langsty. And my prayer is that they are using it and reading it, and I try to encourage their parents to do that as well. And so now I've got two younger ones that probably after, as they get a certain age, I will probably try to find the same type of Bible for them so that they can have access to it. And my hope is, I know their parents take them to church, and my hope is that, they will read and start learning on their own, God's word.
Okay.
So I
Well,
get I get
okay.
all the calls when they're doing papers in school that has to do with the Bible, and so I get the tough questions, and so that's where I play a part. They know that I'm a pastor, and that if they're dealing with some issue in sociology or anthropology or whatever they're studying, they usually call me with a tough Bible question, and so that's where I play a part in my grandkids' lives.
And you also got to baptize.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes, we got to baptize CJ, and I hope to baptize the other four. Also, when we're on vacation or something, I'm gonna dump them in the water somewhere at a beach place or someplace. I'm getting a little too young for that, so we got to hurry and get them baptized. But Deacon Hester, I could use some help. Will you come and help me out? And but yeah, I had the privilege of baptizing my grandchild, and I hope to do the other four.
As we wrap the call, I would really, like to hear from each of you to share what is your favorite memory and legacy that you would like to leave for your grandchildren. What is your favorite memory? What is your favorite tradition that you enjoy doing with your grandchildren? And what is something legacy wise that you hope that they hold with them or keep with them as they grow from you?
Yeah, one.
Need some thinking time.
Yeah.
Well, while everybody else is thinking, I'll go. Uh, Probably some of my favorite memories is going on family vacations. I'm really big on going on a vacation with my three children and all the grandkids and just doing life together and having fun and being
Mhm.
out of our normal, everyday modes where everybody's running here and running there, but we can spend quality time together. That's probably some of my favorite memories. And one tradition that I love to do with the grandkids, and I hope they don't mind because, they're getting older now, but I love to gift each one of them an ornament for their Christmas tree. And this ornament, when I pick it out, I want it to be something special that lets them know that grandma knows what you're interested in and grandma and granddaddy see you, and so we try to pick out a special ornament for each grandchild every year. And my hope is that when I'm long gone and they have families of their own, that they are pulling those ornaments out of those boxes and they are hanging them on their tree and they're remembering, oh, grandma got me this at such and such a time. I was such and such when grandma got this right here for me. So that's one of my favorite traditions. And I will say the last time I was with my my is Miles, and he just turned 5 or 6. I think maybe he just turned 6. My took me on a tour of the Christmas tree, and he pointed out every ornament that was his and what it meant to him. So that touched my heart that he was so excited to share his ornament. So, and I that is one of the I hope the legacy that well, that's just a small part of the legacy, but just memories of that grandma and granddaddy loved me, and they picked this out especially for me. That is the legacy that just a small part of the legacy that I'd like for them to hold on to.
Well, for me, one of my favorite, my special memory with my family is I love to cook. So I love to have big dinners on Sunday where everybody comes over to the house and has dinner. Trey comes over after between his work, and then Laura and the kids come over and the girls come over, and I just a lot of times just sitting here watching them all laugh and talk in our tiny home and enjoying Mimi's meal. And I love it when my girls tell me, Mimi, you make the best food ever. So that's wonderful. I love that. And for my legacy, I am one that I collect villages for Christmas. And I have a lot of them. So I have given my daughter in law and her family part of my village. And I still have a part of village here. And I've told my daughter, I said, when I'm no longer here, they're all yours. And she says, well, I don't want those things. Well, now she's changed her mind and she wants them. So I'm hoping that when I'm no longer here, all of them can look at the villages, and if nothing else, they'll remember Mimi, that Mimi loved her villages. So that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I guess I have to co-sign with her saying that she likes to cook. Obviously, I like to eat. So, one thing, holiday time.
Yeah.
I guess holiday time, Christmas time. When I was a kid, we always get one gift and we're gone to your grandma's and that's it. And I didn't like that. And you look at your parents when you get older and you say, I'm going to keep some of the things that they did and I'm going to get rid of some of the things that I didn't like about my upbringing. And that was one thing that I changed when my kids got older. We go to their house on Christmas morning. We go to their house and it's great. We get there and they run around in their pajamas and robes and stuff. So it's kind of a nice tradition. When my kids were home, I used to cook a Christmas breakfast, and I hope they always kind of remember that. And me, overcooking the French toast or whatever. But it's just, yeah, I guess holiday time is always kind of good for me, and I hope they always remember that. I know they know Pop is, in all their life, I've been a deacon, and church has always been very important to me, and it is important to them because they always ask me to pray. I always, if I'm in Trey's house, that's his home, he should pray. But they say, "Oh no, let Pop pray," and that's always awfully nice to be able to do that and share the word with them anyway. So, yeah.
Right.
Well, for me, Christmas is actually one of my favorite seasons because my daughter, she comes here with my grandbaby from Dallas, Texas, and this is my 10-year-old grandbaby. And now my granddaughter from California doesn't come here. She comes in the summertime, but we still get all together, both of my kids, two of my grandchildren, my son's son, Christopher, and then my grandbaby Lee. And I have a rainbow of grandkids. One of them is white, one of them Mexican, one of them black. So if you see them, they're all a rainbow of kids. But I like having them in the house and the cooking and just the warm feeling, buying them gifts and just spoiling them because even though my kids are older, but in my heart, they're still my little kids. So I really love having them together. As far as a legacy, I feel like not too long ago, for example, my best friend and mentor, my son's mentor, who he's known me for years, they were having a conversation about me. My best friend told me that the mentor has said, Adriana is crazy about her grandkids. She is so crazy about them kids. And to me, I felt so good that they recognize me for loving my kids like that. Like just to know me is to know how much I love my grandkids, and I love that. But I've always been a financial responsible person. So through the grace of God, I was able to buy a house cash free. So I'll be leaving that to them, and I want it to stay where, I don't want them to sell it. So if they ever need to stay there for whatever reason, grandkids or kids, they can stay there. Um, I'm one of them people that I worry about, the day that I pass. I don't want my kids to be stressing over funeral, insurance and all that. So that's been taken care of with cash also. So they don't have to worry about that. There's money left for each one of them. And I'm not talking about insurance money either. So I have been so financially responsible to where I don't want them to stress about anything the day that I'm no longer here, to the point where everything is covered for them. So when I leave, I want them to say, Mama, Mom was there for us and took care of us till the day she died.
Amen.
So that's what I want them to remember me by. That's it.
Okay.
But I'm a realist. I'm a realist when it comes to stuff like that. That's what worries me in my heart. Like, I don't want them to worry about nothing when it comes to me. I want them to be stress free. And I even said to my kids, the day that I pass away, you don't gotta have a big funeral service. I just want my kids and my grandkids there. View me for 5-10 minutes, then cremate me. Go throw my ashes in an ocean somewhere and keep it moving. I'm gonna still be there with you. So that's it. Yeah.
Well, Sister Torres, that's beautiful. Because I tell you, I feel same way. I told don't waste no money having all wasting all that money trying to, you know, you use that money to live on.
That's right.
Right.
Okay. Pastor Moore, we're waiting on you.
Well, my greatest moments are when I have all the kids at dinner, or sometimes I'm kind of still the play toy, especially for the younger ones. And so when I'm on the couch, they're fighting on who's going to sit on my laps or whatever. And if we go to dinner, my oldest two try to position themselves next to me, and then the two little ones will get on my lap. But my middle one is always kind of just, Langston's kind of just, like, and when we went to Disney World, I was in tears because the one thing Langston did the whole time is when I was on my scooter, he would sit on my lap whenever I stopped. He just sit on my lap, and he's never been that kind of emotionally attached.
Mm-hmm.
But he would not let anyone else sit on my lap. He had me all to himself, and that was a special moment. I finally won over my middle grandchild, and that's a very special time. So now, all five of them hug me when they see me now.
Good.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, this has been a very beautiful and touching and informative podcast. And I really, truly hope that other grandparents will watch this and be inspired by just all of the different testimonies that you all have given today. Would anyone like to give advice as our last final moment? Is there any advice that you would like to give to grandparents, new grandparents, maybe grandparents that are raising a kid, maybe grandparents that live far away? Do you have any nuggets or advice that you would like to leave as we get ready to wrap up our podcast for this session today?
Yes, hug and kiss them every chance you can.
That's good. I agree. I was going to say have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun with. I mean, the responsibility is the parents, and I'm not saying that we should shirk any opportunity we have to help a little bit. But boy, just have fun when you can, if you can.
I would say make visiting, especially as a long distance grandparent, make visiting your grandbabies a priority. I know as Pastor and I started looking at our budget and thinking about retiring and all of that, we made sure that in our budget there are at least 5 round trip plane tickets to Dallas because I want to be there to let my grandbabies know that grandma made you a priority and grandma and granddaddy loved you, and that's probably the most costly thing in our budget. And the other thing I would say is if there is a breach or something like that going on in your family, try to navigate it and try to say, okay, that happened then. Try to learn how to apologize and say, I'm sorry. And hopefully you can build that relationship and that bridge back so that you can have that quality time with your grandkids.
I would say, I think I would say that, become a kid like them. Become a kid like them. Open your mind. Listen to what they like. Be part of it. And I would also say that it is important as a grandparent to give your kids a break and take those grandkids at least, every other weekend. Give those parents a break so they can regroup and they can become even better parents, because we all know that it's a hard job being a parent.
Very
But
true.
if you give them a little break as a grandparent and you take those grandkids, even for the weekend, a couple hours for the evening, it will help those parents regroup and become even better parents, because they need a break also. So I would say, and trust me, I know plenty selfish grandparents that are like, oh no, I'm not dealing with those grandkids. But you have to put an effort. It takes a village. Um, so I just would say be open, spend more quality time with your grandkids, and be open to helping with those grandbabies, because it's needed. Your support is needed as a grandparent.
And just one other thing I would
That's it.
say. Yeah, one other thing I would say is because I'm a long distance grandparent, that doesn't mean that, technology is wonderful. And so, uh, family chats, pictures, FaceTime, uh, you know, zooming into ball games. Take advantage of those mediums, that technology, and connect on a regular basis with your grandbabies.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank each of you for sharing personal moments, sharing your advice, sharing your traditions, and just sharing your grandchildren with our podcast this evening. We are going to go ahead and sign off, and I would love to invite you all to zoom in to our next episode of Family Matters. We don't have our topic yet, but we'll be back soon. So we'll see you guys a little later. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, baby. It's Grandma Hester. Just calling to thank you for everything you did and all the pictures and everything. Give me a call at your convenience. Love you. Oh, baby, I'm just returning your call. Everything's okay over here. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Trey, this is Grandma Hester. I need to thank you again. They sent me another bouquet. It's a little bit smaller, but it's just as pretty. And thank you so much. I appreciate your thoughtfulness. Love you, sweetheart. Bye-bye. Trey Hester, you never answer the phone. This is Grandma Hester and Aunt Jackie. We just want to tell you Happy birthday. I cannot believe you almost at the 4-0. Oh my goodness. Take care, baby. I hope you had a good day. She said love you. And I love you too. So take care. And I know you're out someplace eating probably, but enjoy. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Love.
Trey, this is Grandma Hester. I just want to wish you a happy Father's Day. You're doing such a good job with those children, you and Laura. I'm so proud of both of you. I don't know what to do. Take care, sweetheart. Nothing's wrong. Everything is fine. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Love you. Trey, this is Grandma Hester. I just want to tell you just a few things as if you didn't know. Wipe off your camera when you get there in the morning. You don't know who's had it. If you do, you don't know where he's been. Just take care of yourself. Use some precautions. Love you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Trey Hester, Grandma Hester. I just found out last night that you did the stories on the love stories and the old man with his wife with Alzheimer's. They were so good, both of them. All three of them were really good. I just wanted to tell you, keep up the good work. Keep up the good work, sweetheart. Oh, and Jackie said the Girl Scout cookies this morning was a good story, too. Real good. Take care, baby. Love ya. Bye-bye.